Hello, and welcome to another episode of Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie, the show in which I, Dan Leith, review things in a rabbit onesie. Rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby, rock the boat, don't tip the boat over, rock the boat, don't rock the boat, baby. That's right. On this episode, I'll be looking at two movies which feature boats in peril at sea, both directed by Wolfgang Petersen, and putting them head to head. Which brings us to movie number 1, 2000's The Perfect Storm. Now, this movie is about the true story of the fishermen of the Andrea Gale, which got trapped in a really bad storm. It was a superstorm, the perfect storm, you might say. So this movie's set in 1991. It features a terrific cast. George Clooney, Marky Mark, John C. Reilly, John Hawkes, Michael fucking Ironside. All of them are wearing baseball caps. Apparently fishermen really love baseball caps. So do I. Essentially they make up a fine crew of fathers, lovers and loners. Anyway, the movie starts. They come in from a haul. They've got fuck all fish. Michael Ironside's really unhappy about that. They're all happy to get back. But Captain George Clooney is like, fuck it lads, we need to go back. We need more fish. So they go back out to sea, and then there's a storm. I think there's actually 3 storms. They all come together to make the perfect storm. It's actually a really good film. Most of the cast are excellent in it. Smouldering George Clooney saying some speech about landmarks and making you feel things even though the words mean nothing to you.
Herring gulls, big dump ducks. The sun hits you, head north, open up to 12.
Marky Mark's actually really good in it too, like genuinely good in it. It's a little unnerving. John C. Reilly does an amazing job despite having to act against a very terrible child actor at one point. Big shout out to John Hawkes. I love in most things, but he's great in this as the lovable character of Bugsy.
No one ever said goodbye to me before.
The only person who's not very good in this film is Diane Lane, who I normally enjoy, but she seems a little over the top in this, and the Bostonian accent is... Plus she plays an emotionally and physically abusive character. She literally gives Marky Mark a black eye at the start of the film. So sorry if I don't give that many fucks about you. But everyone else is fucking class. It does a good job of setting up who the characters are and their relationships before shit hits the fan. And when shit hits the fan, it is fucking exciting. Like steering the boat straight into hell. Edge of your seat, nightmare fuel. It's moment after moment and it never lets up. I mean, the film gives you a tiny victory and then there's another peril. It's relentless, exciting. I was actually surprised with how invested I was because I'm dead inside. The music is also class. James Horner does the score for this. It's guaranteed to give you the feels. I'm not going to go into too much detail about the film. Don't want to ruin anything, but it's a bloody intense battle against the elements. It's filled with lots of fish and lots of weather. You're not just following the guys in the boat. You've got another boat that's lost out there, and the helicopter rescue team are great lads. I mean, it could be a little cheesy at times, a little idealistic. I mean, there's some insane action going on outside. Mark Wahlberg is steering the ship. He seems to be cheering along, he seems to know exactly what the fuck is happening outside. It's the perfect storm, not the perfect film, but it is so engrossing and exciting, edge of your seat stuff, that I could easily forgive most of the flaws. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that if you accidentally hook a shark and have to drag it on board and it nearly bites one of your crew's leg off and you have to shotgun it in the head, at least harvest the meat. And I learned that George Clooney does not know how to do CPR. No, you think you would after all those years in ER. Anyway, that's A Perfect Storm. It's bloody exciting, captivating, very emotional, well worth a watch. 4 out of 5 Rogue Waves. Which brings us to movie number 2, 2006's Poseidon. Based off a book, and you may be aware of the 1970s famous disaster movie The Poseidon Adventure, this is a lot shitter than that. Poseidon is about a cruise ship that is hit by a giant rogue wave on New Year's Eve. Despite a somewhat incredible cast, this movie is just a train wreck, or I should say shipwreck. It's really short, which is both a good and bad thing. Of course, like many other disaster movies, you meet all the characters. And this movie, because it's so short, rushes through all of that. It's so curt, which brings us to Kurt Russell, who plays an ex-firefighter, ex-mayor of New York City, who has a really unhealthy relationship with his daughter, who's played by Emmy Rossum. She's on the cruise as well with her boyfriend, who I think has like frosted tips. He looks like an ex-member of NSYNC or a Poundland Chris Pine. Anyway, Kurt Russell's obsessed with the fact that they may want to have sex, even though they're clearly in their mid-20s. He seems too protective of his daughter. It's icky. There's one scene where he's playing cards. She comes over. He comments that he can see her breast. He must do up another button. She's like, what, the twins? You've got Josh Lucas, who seems to be like the loner hero type. He actually seems quite irritable. He suffers from mood swings a lot. His backstory is that he knows boats. I think that's all we're given, or I just wasn't paying attention because it's so shit. Lucky he's there, he knows all about valves and ducts and where the fuck to go. You've got a single mother and her annoying child. You've got Richard Dreyfuss playing a heartbroken rich guy. He's gonna throw himself off the balcony and then suddenly sees the wave coming. He's like, oh shit. Guess he wants to live. And you've got Kevin Dillon playing a caricature of a bad guy and a sex pest.
Daddy, please, come on.
Typecast. Even Fergie from the Black Eyed Peas is on the boat. She's the entertainment. She's not playing herself though, she's playing another one-named pop star. It's Gloria! Anyway, we get a bunch of rushed exposition backstory for all these bullshit characters. And then the wave hits the boat, which is actually pretty cool. You get a very entertaining montage of chaos. People are tipped out of a swimming pool. Lighting rigs fall. People are tipped over balconies. Crushed by fridges. Fall out of lifts. Or die in flame-engulfed corridors. I mean, for the first half an hour of this movie, I found it quite enjoyably shit because it was so rushed and I knew it was short. And yet, by the end of it, it was far too long. It's just ridiculous bullshit that fails to be interesting the longer it goes on. There are some highlights in ridiculous deaths.
Hey, who's shooting at us?
Ridiculous. Kurt and his daughter continue to be creepy. It's really weird. Pine Shop Chris Pine goes from having his legs crushed under a lighting rig to suddenly leading the way climbing across chasms a couple of minutes later. Stupid. Also, his frosted tips get washed out by the end of the film. Josh Lucas continues to be ridiculously impulsive, doing shit like jumping into pits of firewater. There are a few bits that almost seem exciting, and then stupidity and boredom seek in and you're reminded of your own mortality. I mean, this film gives me a sinking feeling, but not in the way it intends. You're just watching a bunch of hysterical, annoying, somewhat creepy idiots on a boat, and you just don't give a shit. I'm going to give you a spoiler here, and if you care about that sort of thing, then maybe turn this off now. But you shouldn't, because you should never watch this film. So in the end, it turns out that this creepy love triangle between Kurt Russell, his daughter, and Pawn Shop Chris Pine just leads to a terrible cliche. It's all just a cheap knockoff of Armageddon. Kurt goes off to do the suicide mission bit, gives his life to save the others. I don't give a shit. But I guess you 20-something-year-olds are free to fuck now. So some people escape, and it's good that when the ship capsized at the beginning of the film, it shot out that one raft. Deus Ex rafting. What did I learn from this movie? I learned that flares can sometimes magically transform into helicopters. I learned that it's I before E, except after C. Or on the sea, because Poseidon. E comes first. And I learned that Kurt Russell is better at CPR than George Clooney, but it's still not enough to resurrect this box office flop from the dead. I mean, the best thing about this movie is that I know I'll never have to watch it again. I mean, how does this movie look so much worse than The Perfect Storm, which was released 6 years earlier? Hilariously, there's a song in the credits, Won't Let You Fall, performed by Fergie, written by Fergie and will.i.am. I bet they thought it was going to be their version of My Heart Will Go On. It's not. Anyway, there you go, Poseidon. 1 out of 5 rogue waves. Fucking awful. It's amazing how the same director can make two very different films, kind of about the same thing. Wolfgang Petersen was also nominated for an Oscar for his 70s masterpiece, Das Boot, about a bunch of German lads on a submarine. So similar kind of fare. He also directed The Never-Ending Story, so we can't even get through a kids movie without drowning something.
I love you.
Our tags. Anyway, thank you for watching Reviews in a Rabbit Onesie. I've been Dan Leith. If you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe. Go down with the ship. Thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay sane, stay off the seas when it's stormy. Finn.